The Daily Bible in chronological order. Inscription on cross. Matthew chapter 27 verse 37. Mark chapter 15 verse 26. Luke chapter 23 verse 38. And John chapter 19 verses 19 through 22. Pilate had a notice prepared and fastened to the cross. It read, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Many of the Jews read this sign, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city. And the sign was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. The chief priests of the Jews protested to Pilate, "Do not write the King of the Jews, but that this man claimed to be the King of the Jews." Pilate answered, "What I have written, I have written." Soldiers cast lots. Matthew chapter 27 verses 35 and 36. Mark chapter 15 verse 24. Luke chapter 23 verse 34b. And John chapter 19 verses 23 and 24. When the soldiers crucified Jesus, they took his clothes, dividing them into 4 shares, one for each of them, with the undergarment remaining. This garment was seamless, woven in one piece from top to bottom. "Let's not tear it," they said to one another. "Let's decide by lot who will get it." This happened that the scripture might be fulfilled, which said, "They delivered my garments among them, and cast lots for my clothing." So this is what the soldiers did. Crowd mocks Jesus. Matthew chapter 27 verses 39 through 44. Mark chapter 15 verses 29 through 32. Luke chapter 23 verses 35 through 37. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. Come down from the cross, if you are the Son of God." In the same way the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders mocked him. "He saved others," they said, "but he can't save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God rescue him now, if he wants him. For he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, "If you are the King of the Jews, save yourselves." Thief asked remembrance. Luke chapter 23 verses 39 through 43. One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Christ? Save yourself and us." But the other criminal rebuked him. "Don't you fear God," he said, "since you are under the same sentence. We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him, "I tell you the truth. Today you will be with me in paradise." Jesus provides for Mary. John chapter 19 verses 25 through 27. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother there, and a disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son." And to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, this disciple took her into his home. Jesus cries out. Matthew chapter 27 verses 45 through 47. Mark chapter 15 verses 33 through 35. Luke chapter 23 verses 44 and verse 45a. About 3 p.m. From the 6th hour until the 9th hour, darkness came over all the land. About the 9th hour, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of those standing there heard this, they said, "He's calling Elijah." Jesus is given drink. Later, knowing that all, and this is Matthew chapter 27 verses 48 and 49, Mark chapter 15 verse 36, and John chapter 19 verses 28 and 29. Later, knowing that all was now completed, And so that the scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, I am thirsty. Immediately one of them ran and got a sponge. He filled it with wine vinegar, put it on a stick, and offered it to Jesus to drink. The rest said, Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to save him. Jesus dies. Matthew chapter 27, verse 50. Mark chapter 15, verse 37. Luke chapter 23, verse 46. And John chapter 19, verse 30. When he had received the drink, Jesus said, It is finished. Jesus called out with a loud voice, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. With that, he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. Miraculous events. Matthew chapter 27, verses 51 through 53. Mark chapter 15, verse 38. Luke chapter 23, verses 45b. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn into two from top to bottom. The earth shook and the rocks split. The tombs broke open and the bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. They came out of the tombs, and after Jesus' resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many people.